You're listening to Closing Market Weekly, the show where real estate closings meet real world insight. With your host, Phillip Hogan, and every week we break down the trends, tools, and the timing that keeps deals moving forward. Let's dive in. Hi, I'm Phillip Hogan, the host of Closing Market Weekly podcast, and welcome to the show. Many of you know me as the CEO of Signing Services of America. And in that role, we have developed a sort of like a nice contest with our notaries. And that contest is named Notary of the Month. And it's just a great way to, bring out the best in our notaries who do work for the company. And then, of course, we offer them some type of reward. So the reward is one notary per month will be invited to Close the Market Weekly podcast to record a session with me. And so today's notary of the month is Joleana Singleton. So Joleana is a native Detroiter. I guess you love the Lions, right?
Oh, that's controversial, but yes, I do love the Lions.
Okay. All right. They had a great year last year.
They
And
did.
and she's lived all over the US. She has been commissioned in 4 different states.
Hmm.
Her notary career began in 2012 while working for a national bank. She assisted clients with applying for car loans, personal loans, HELOCs, and other loans. She would close those loans once the client reached the end of the process. After leaving the bank, Juliana continued to offer notarial and loan closing services to the public. She has done almost every type of closing you can think of, and we're so happy to have her on the show. Juliana, welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
And so by the way, audience, Juliana has been working with Signing Service America now for about, gosh, like almost forever, right? And
It's been
so,
about, I think, 5 or 6 years now. So yeah,
yeah, and so
it's been a while.
we really appreciate the relationship and the great work that you've been able to accomplish for us. So Juliana, as we move into the show here, let's have the audience know a little bit about your first experience in the closing process.
Okay. So I'll talk about it once I started working as an NSA for myself and not doing at the bank. The bank is a little bit more structured.
Right.
The first time I did a closing, I will never forget this client. She was refinancing her home. She was so scared about the process. The packet was like 220 pages. It was so
Wow.
long. It was an FHA closing, and she was really nervous about having someone come to her home.
Right.
And I assured her this process will be super easy. It'll be smooth. I will explain all the documents. I always make a joke with clients. I can tell you what something is, not why it is what it is.
Okay.
And then she was a little nervous, but we got through it.
Uh-huh.
It took us about 45 minutes.
Uh-huh.
And afterwards, she was like, "Oh my God, that was so easy." And I was like, "I told you, I'm going to get you through this smooth and easy." So, yeah.
That's great. That's great. And so was that obviously was a memorable moment, right? One in that it seems like it's etched in your career and your etched in your mind forever, huh?
It was. And I think mostly because it was the first one that I had done
Right.
post working in the bank.
Right.
And the client was just so nervous.
Right.
Because essentially most people are used to you go in a bank, you apply for a mortgage, you apply for a loan,
Right.
and now everything is digital.
Right.
So she never met the loan agent.
Right.
She didn't meet anybody from the title company because she only talked to them on the phone.
Right.
And then here I am showing up. This person who she has not had any contact with throughout the process. And I come and I say, "Hey, I have an entire stack of documents here with your information on it. And I'm going to get you closed." And she's like, "What?" So she was a little worried.
Right.
But I explained to her it's the exact same process as if you went into the title agency and did it there.
Right.
I'm going to do the exact same thing.
Right.
It's just this time you don't have to leave home. You can keep your pajamas on. So yeah, so it worked out really well.
Great. Well, you handled that like a real pro. And
Thank you.
now I know, why our clients always like to call upon you because of your personality and your ability to get clients to feel comfortable with the loan signing process. And that's a really important component that, man, I think sometimes folks overlook. You got someone like yourself, a notary coming into your home, a stranger coming to your home to conduct some serious business. And homeowners could be a little tense. They can feel a little awkward. and they may have some feelings of uncertainty. And, is this the right thing? Is the right person? Is this really going to happen the way it's supposed to? So, having a notary come in and really presenting themselves with sense of control and the ability to help people feel comfortable about the situation to get through the process is really, really important. And therefore, I'm sure she was happy to have you, and so are we. So let's move on. So our we've got a few questions to ask you, some rapid fire questions. So
Okay,
the
I'm
first
ready.
one is that, oh, which one is that? What's one closing mistake you'll never forget?
Making sure the client's name is spelled correctly.
Okay.
Now, I don't care if a person's name is Brian Williams, which is a very simple name to spell, but Brian can be spelled a couple different ways.
Right.
So now, one thing I always make sure of is that the client's name is spelled correctly. I
Uh-huh.
went to a closing, the client's name was not correct. I did we drew a line through, we wrote the name correctly. Title was furious. They would have rather done a redraw. I end up having to do a redraw, but now I always ask the client for the correct spelling of their name.
Okay. Great. And what's one tool or system you swear by?
I'm going to give you two real quick. So the
Okay.
first one is a dual tray printer, and I would tell you to buy the largest size tray that they have.
Okay.
I do a lot of closings, and having a printer that can crank out the docs is vital. The second thing I would tell you is something called Sort Quick. Love, love, love this stuff. It helps me grab the pages while I'm working with the client, and
Uh-huh.
it makes it very quick for me to pull the pages.
Okay. When I was a notary signing agent before I started signing Service America, I would walk around with a rubber thumb, a rubber finger,
I used to use those. I used to use those in the bank. Yep,
and it
much
was so
better.
helpful,
Much better.
right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, great. And then the third rapid fire question is paper or digital?
I'm gonna go paper. I'm old school. I definitely like paper.
Okay. All right.
I'm also in a wet state, but yeah, I like paper.
And what does a wet state mean for those that don't know?
Oh, I'm so sorry. It means that the documents have to be signed by hand. You can't use digital signatures.
Mm-hmm.
So you can sign things for the initial application using DocuSign, but the actual documents that are going to go back to the lender to get recorded have to be done by hand. So I need a signature with a pen.
Okay, good deal. Thank you. And so, audience, our tagline is Closing Market Weekly is closing deals one episode at a time. So the deal that I would look forward to closing with Jolena is a topic that would like to discuss, and let's just see if we can bring the deal to a close. And so the deal is operational challenges, deal detailed instructions, operational challenges, detailed instructions. So that's the deal. So how can we close that deal, Julene? Will you help me?
Absolutely. One of the things that I come across often
Hmm.
are closings that are where the client is using a trust,
Hmm.
or they are doing a POA.
Mm.
Um, if
And what's
I
a
know
POA? What's a
a
POA?
power of attorney. Sorry, a
Okay,
power of attorney.
great. Hmm.
One of the things that I know now, sometimes when you get the instructions when it comes through signing order or whatever company the notary service is using, when the instructions come through, they don't always tell you how title would like the client to sign.
Hmm.
The worst thing that you can do is wait till you get there with the client and then you're trying to figure that out. So I always look through my docs before I get to the client.
Hmm.
And if I see that it's a trust or if it's a power of attorney, I like to confirm with title how they would like the client to sign. Do they want them to write out power of attorney, attorney in fact? When a person is doing let's say it is attorney in fact, and they're doing initials, you have to write my initials, for instance, are JS. So I would go JS, and let's say it was you, I would go JS by PH, comma AIF.
Hmm.
So
AIF mean AIF for them for
it
those that
means
don't know.
attorney in fact.
Fact.
Yeah, it
Hmm.
means
Hmm.
attorney in fact.
Hmm.
But I like to confirm with title how they would like the client to sign. I think that's super important because if you don't do it correctly,
Hmm.
then you end up having to come back and do a redraw. And
Hmm.
it can be a nightmare for the client because what if you have a client who is on their way out the country?
Hmm.
A lot of times when I do PO power of attorneys or attorney in fact, clients are military spouses.
Hmm.
And so, or they may be signing for a loved one who is, somewhere else and they're getting ready to go on holiday.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure that it's done correctly. And one of the challenges that I see is that there are no notes in the file to tell you how title will prefer.
Mm-hmm.
So then you're trying to get title on the phone.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
it can be a challenge.
And I was about to say, I can see how that can be an operational challenge because you're in the field, right? Or you're preparing to go into the field with your documents to the signer's home or location. And you need to have 100% clarity as to how things should be done. So that will ultimately have a very successful closing, right?
Absolutely. Especially when you have title companies that are on the West Coast. A
Mm-hmm.
lot of my signings sometimes will come from out of California or Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
They are not open as early as we are here. And
Mm-hmm.
if there is not an after hours phone number to contact someone at title
Mm-hmm.
or instructions in the file, now you're waiting. I always err on the side of caution. If there aren't any instructions, I have the client write out attorney in fact or power of attorney. However, it's worded in the signature block. I just have the client sign that way.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather them have more information than not have enough.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And so does that issue apply to all type of signings or just particular maybe a refi or only a buyer side?
So that would apply to any type of documents.
Okay.
So a lot of the files that I do are also commercial. So it's a business. So it's someone signing on behalf of their business. When
Mm-hmm.
that happens, the client would sign as themselves as the guarantor, and then they would also be signing as whatever their title is for the business.
Mm-hmm.
Some title companies would prefer that the person sign comma their title. So it could be
Mm-hmm.
comma president, comma manager, comma owner.
Mm-hmm.
But if there aren't any instructions there, you don't really know. So that can apply to any type of closing. It can be a seller's package, a buyer's package.
Mm-hmm.
It can be just a deed of trust. It just
Mm-hmm.
depends.
Okay,
A lot
great.
of times you'll see trustee, and you need to know if they want the client to write trustee or not. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
any type of closing.
And so my goodness, Jolena, that's a lot of information to retain. And where did you pick up all this great knowledge?
Um, so I've been working with lending since 2010.
Okay.
I didn't start actually doing closings until 2012.
Uh-huh.
And because it's something I still work with a lot of lenders currently,
Yes.
I get a chance to stay abreast on what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I pride myself on providing a signature customer service experience. So
Right.
it's very important to be knowledgeable about it. So I make sure I have cheat sheets that I keep on my phone for when the clients have questions, so I can have answers. So it's just something that's really important to me in terms of the type of service that I provide.
Wow. So that's really great. And that's kind of like leading your last statement is leading us into our next question is that if you have one piece of advice for someone in this industry trying to improve their closing success rate, what would it be?
Without question, go through the docs once you finish everything while you're sitting there at the table with the client. What
Mm,
I typically say to clients is, you know what? We're all done. This house is yours now. So if you broke it, you bought it. And I just need 2 or 3 minutes to look back through my work. So that way I can make sure I didn't miss any signatures or initials. So we don't have to come back out and have you re-sign anything. So just give me a few minutes to just look back through my work. I would recommend that to anyone who is doing this. It will increase the number of bookings that you get because companies will know that they can trust your work, as well as it saves you a lot of time from having to go back out and have a client re-sign.
sure, sure. Good stuff. And so this interesting here, you had mentioned also that you have a cheat sheet.
I do.
And I know I asked you for one suggestion, but I'm asking you for another since that cheat sheet was something I haven't heard about. You want to share a little bit more about how do you compose a cheat sheet and what do you have on that cheat sheet?
Absolutely. And if you want, I can actually email them to you because they may be something that other notaries might be able to utilize.
Please do.
So okay, absolutely. Basically, what it does is it goes through the documents that are in your standard closing package, and it kind
Mhm.
of gives you like a one line way to surmise that sheet. For instance, if it was the closing disclosure, my cheat sheet says something akin to, so this is your closing disclosure. It goes over all the terms of the loan. So it's going to
Mm,
tell you if you have a conventional loan, or FHA loan or VA loan. It's going to tell me what the term of the loan is it a 20-year loan, a 30-year loan, a 15-year loan? And it's also going to tell us all the important parts of the loan dollar amount, the interest rate, the principal and interest portion, and the actual payment. And that sheet will tell me whether or not the client's taxes and insurance are included on that sheet. So my little one-liner tells me what that document is for. So it's how over the years, and I kind of update it as new things come out. There are some new forms that we had that came out during COVID that we didn't have previously. Forms, for instance, asking about if a client is still currently employed and if this loan is going to cause a hardship to them, will they need to ask for government assistance to help pay their loan back? Those were new forms that came out during COVID, and I still see them in certain people's packets. But yeah, I created a cheat sheet that helps me manage how to answer our clients' questions.
Very efficient. See, that's why we enjoy working with you, Joleana, because you are, you have it all. And that helps us to, feel confident in you. And then of course, the clients that hire us to hire a notary like you. And, notaries have to understand that not only are you, conducting a signing, but you are representing obviously yourselves, the company that hired you, and oftentimes the lender that is in partnership with that title company who hired the notary or the signing service. So thank you for those great tips. And so, Joleana, you have such wonderful information. And if somebody would like to contact you to learn more or possibly hire you, what's the best way to contact you?
So via email, my email is singletons with an S on the end, notaryservice@gmail. I can also be reached via telephone at 240-723-3362. I also have a Facebook page, which is called Mobile Notary Services, and I'm also available on Yelp as well.
Okay, great. Fantastic. Well, there you have it, audience. Joleana Singleton, who is a premier signing service and has worked with us for a number of years. She has come on to the show, and we think that we closed the deal of operational challenges having detailed instructions. All right. So everyone, thank you so much for listening. Joleana, thank you so much for coming on to the show and providing such wonderful information. I'm sure someone in our audience will be able to use it, and someone's going to be contacting you, maybe about the cheat sheet, you never know, and maybe about wanting to do business with you. And I think that if they do, they won't have any regrets.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. Okay, folks. So that wraps us up for another episode. And stay tuned. We look forward to talking to you next week. And bye for now. Thanks for tuning in to the Closing Market Weekly. If you found this episode valuable, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share it with someone in the industry. For more insights from the front lines of real estate closings, we'll see you next week.